Right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lit in English. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this is season six, and we are very proud to have our friends, our guests from MA in Happiness Studies to join us on this journey. And I would like to extend my appreciation to all of us for going on this journey. And this is a journey to lit up a path to happiness as whole being through our understanding of the inner self. It's good to see all of the familiar faces. And yeah, great. So before we start, I just want to share a very interesting experience that I did just 24 hours ago. So I am currently studying the Master Mentor from WIT, and we had a practice exercise where we had to do presentation for 24 hours. So I just done that, and it's really interesting since I have to do a presentation for over 6 hours and then eat, sleep, rest for 2 hours, and then do my presentation again. And toward the end, I only make it to 20 hours, but we did really good, and we had great experience, many lessons learned, and even though it is a little extreme, even for me, because I just went through like a 10 days straight of almost like nonstop studying going into that is definitely put my body on a test. But at the same time, it's make me realize that I can be much better and stronger. And the lessons learned are priceless. So just got off from that. So I just want to share that with you. If my energies seem a little bit different compared to every other days, that was the reason. But I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I feel transformed. Uh, no, there's no better way to get back on track and going on lit in English and do more presentation. Sometimes I do some reflection of like, how am I doing all of this? It's pretty it's pretty extreme. But hey, thank you for joining us. You give me all the reason I need in the world to be here, and it's energized me. It give me so much hope, and let's get right back to it. Okay, so before we start today's presentation, I would like to do a quick overview on what we did yesterday, and if possible, if you have any lesson, if you do any reflection in the past week about the first principle, the principle of light, feel free to raise your hand and share. I have learned so much from the principle of light from our previous conversation. So I would love to hear from you. Because last time, even though we did share a lot of lessons, uh, and I feel like we can always share more. All right, so quickly review on the principle of light. So last week we introduced the principle of light, and what the principle of light is saying is very simple. So we imagine that we have a dark room, and we do a thought exercise that if we want to make the room less dark, what do we do? Do we try to take darkness out of the room, or do we turn on the light? And the answer is pretty obvious. We just need to turn on the light, and we will be able to see the room, and darkness will disappear. However, when we compare this thought exercise to everyday activities, it seems that we often try to get darkness out of the room when a problem arises, right? For example, we don't take care of our health until we get a flu or something, when we get sick, and only then we started to take medication, take care of our body, and pretty much we wait for problem to arise before we take care of it. And that is the equivalence of trying to get darkness out of the room. That is being reactive. So the principle of light tell us that we don't have to wait for problem to occur. We can be proactive. We can bring light into the room, as in we can exercise, we can eat properly, we can work on our health, our inner self, our relationship, our finance, so that when anything arises, we are ready, we are prepared. And the principle of light in itself cannot be applied in any field of study. And as simple as it is, again, many of us tend to try to solve the problem instead of focusing on what works and appreciate the good, right? Because when we appreciate the good will appreciate. And another very interesting lesson that I have learned from the presentation is that even though there are many problems that might occur in life, when we simplify it, there are actually only 4 categories that we can just focus on being proactive with. And those are inner self, as in our inner self, our health, our relationship with others, and our financial well-being. So that is a quick overview of the principle of light. I would love to hear from you, because this principle of light is greatly related to the presentation that we are going to go over in a little bit, which is about the 7 holistic wealth. So do we have any takers? Feel free to unmute and share with us, I guess.
Hey Ben, how you doing? It's Giovanni.
Hey, Giovanni.
Let me chime in here. Something's nudging me to talk right now. When it comes to the principle of light, and that is to know that the light is the principle of everything. It's the beginning of everything. It's the only thing that we really should be concerned about is our own light, our lack of light, and how we can share our light with other people. You know, kind of like you said last week about the candles. You know, like one candle sharing another candle, it's extension of itself. You know, and it's just funny to me because I think of light, and I think of when I was a young boy and I'd have these nightmares, and automatically when my mom would come in the room and she'd turn the light on, I would stop being scared, right? So darkness, all it is an absence of light. It's a lack of light. And it's once you make a choice to add light into a room is when darkness gets absorbed, it goes away. You know, if there's absolute light wherever you are, there really is no darkness. But everything that we see right now, everything in front of us is nothing but a shadow. It's light combined with darkness. That's the only way that we can create things in this world, is knowing that what we see in front of us, we see because it does have a shadow, but it does also include light, right? So when we're talking about the principle of light, what we're talking about is the one source, which some people call it God. That's what light truly is. And we're not really going to really comprehend what light, the meaning of light can be. We have to experience it. you know, and I just want to thank you because there's platforms like this that are allowing people to really try to understand what light is so that they can question it in themselves and in their lives, and then they can apply it into their lives to see what that light brings to themselves and to their environments by their creations. You know, because what I do know is light is the foundation for everything. You know, that's one of the reasons why when we look at nature, birds chirp in the morning when the light, you know, begins to shine. And there's even meerkats that seem to be praying when they see the sun. You know, iguanas do the same thing. They worship the sun and they raise their heads up and down. You know, and I'm here in Florida and I see nature and I see it for what it is, which is light in everything. It's all meant for us to get this lesson so that we can find our way back home, because ultimately the light will lead us home. And we all feel, you know, fear sometimes. We all feel anger. We all feel these different feelings, but we don't know where it's coming from. And it's coming from our separation from home. What we all know what home feels like, what it should be, what it really is, which is the peace that we're all looking for. You know, and you mentioned before that you found a correlation between the word happy and being at peace, that it sound the same. And it's all because it leads to the same source, which is light. So thank you.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Giovanni. And that is definitely a perspective from spiritual well-being in the SPIRE model that we got to learn from happiness studies. So one thing that I appreciate a lot when it's come to all of the principles that we have learned is that it can be applied in many different fields in many different ways. So you can use this principle and apply it to spiritual well-being. You can use this very same principle to apply to relational well-being, as in building relationship with others, because people tend to leaning toward pleasure and away from pain. So when you are the source of light, people will lean toward you and people feel happy when they are around you. And it is the same for, I guess, emotional well-being. The light is leaning toward positive emotion. And what about physical well-being? We do things that is good for our body. So one simple principle, there are many applications. And um, this is the reason I love to go on this journey, to hear thought, to hear perspective, to hear lesson from all of us. So thank you, Giovanni, for sharing. I see Jasmine raise her hand as well. So, go ahead, Jasmine.
Yeah, thank you, Ben, and thank you, everyone, and Giovanni. I agree with Giovanni on the point that the principle of light, you have to experience yourself. And the minute that you are able to connect to the principle of light, which means that you will be able to think positive, speak positive, and like do positive things for other people. That is when you are no longer go back to the other way. And if you happen, like if I happen to um go back to my my old behavior or my old thought or old habit, then I can flip the coin right away. Just because when I receive the principle of light, when I open the curtain, uh, you know, in the dark room, I'm no longer want to be in the dark room. But that had to be my own experience. It's harder for people who don't have that experience to understand what is the principle of light. But when they allow themselves to open the curtain in the dark room to let the light in, then they will be able to receive that principle. And when they receive that principle, they won't be able to be the same person anymore. And again, like if they ever go back to their old behavior or habit or thought, then they will remember to, light up their room again. So, so this this is a powerful principle, and it require a real experience. So I love this principle. It takes me until now. It took me a while to really remember everything, but when I received it, I received it. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Right, beautiful. Thanks, Jason. All right. So now that we have some foundational information about the previous presentation, I think it's a good time to start this week presentation on the seven holistic wealth. Thanks, Giovanni and Jasmine for sharing. All right. So the seven holistic wealth is a presentation. It's part of the principle of life presentation. It's just I wanted to break into two parts for us to understand it easier. So pretty much what we do is that we apply the principle of life to the seven holistic wealth. And in order to be proactive, in order to build a strong house, like our own inner house, the inner self, health, relationship, and finance, the experts tell us that there are seven elements, there are seven holistic wealth that we can work on, that we can start to cultivate in order to have a strong and stable house, figuratively. So let's go ahead and grab a piece of paper. And in this piece of paper, I would like you to draw a similar house, but bigger. Something like this. Similarly, we will have inner self at the bottom as the foundation. And on the left-hand side, we have health. Right, we have a relationship. I will describe relationship. And at the top, we have finance. At the center, at the very center, I would like to make a hexagon right in the middle. We are going to divide this session into 7 areas. Right. So at the very bottom of the foundation of the house, we have wisdom.
Yeah.
And on the bottom left, we have presence. Then bottom right, let's call it nobility. At the very center, let's see, virtue. Then top right, we have capability. And top right, we have top left, we have physique. Finally, material. So this is the 7 holistic wealth. And the great master, the wise man, share with us that in life, if we can just cultivate these 7 elements in life, we will be able to hold our house together. And not only that, we will be able to acquire success and we can maintain it. And these 7 part, you can imagine it as in the 7 room in the house. And once we can light up the room, when we materialize these 7 elements, it will be able to give us the understanding and the ability to accomplish many aspects of life. And this is extremely important because to me, when I first learned this lesson, I wasn't aware of the 4 category of inner self, health, relation, and finance. So in my life, I often have to be reactive, as in I wait for sometimes things just happen and I just needed to deal with it. But now that I am aware of the 4 category of inner self, health, relation, and finance, we need to work on that 4 to live a good life. And the information about the 7 holistic wealth give me an even more detail on what I need to work on. And it's give me a much clearer picture on the importance of each of these elements rather than work on things that might not help me at all. So the way to see this is that imagine if you can have the best life possible in this world. You have great health, you have amazing relationship, you have financial freedom, you have great relationship with your inner self, right? So in that world, what would be important to accomplish all of it? And in the 7 holistic wealth is tell us that everything starts with the foundation. If you were to build a house, it needs to have a very strong foundation. And when we make an observation of skyscraper, we realize that the higher the building go, the closer to the center it is, right? So it is very important that we are center. And this figure here tell us that in order to have this holistic life, we need to start with the foundation of inner self, and we need to start the foundation of wisdom. Because once we gain wisdom, we will have the knowledge, we will know how to deal with problem when it arises. We will learn how to elevate others. So in this presentation, I am not going into detail, but I will give you some. And later down the line, we will go into a much more detail of what each of these mean. So for example, um, just a quick idea of what wisdom is. We will have 5 levels of wisdom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At the level 1, you will know how to differentiate between right and wrong, good and bad, and so on. You will be able to recognize the differentiation between everything in life. At level 2, you will have an understanding that everything starts with the self, and you will be conscious of working in yourself to accomplish goal in life rather than waiting for other people to influence on your life. And at level 3, people will be able to find their inner peace, and in that way they have access to the true wisdom and so on. So by having a clear image of what it is, we will simply acquire what we need to live a better life. And what about presence? So as you might have noticed already, present is the corner left of the house, which means it is the combination of your inner self or your inner health with your physical health. And present is very, very powerful because imagine if, let's say, the president of the United States walked into the room, you will feel his presence. Or imagine if someone you love walk into the room, their presence will be different from any others. So similarly, when expert go on stage, they will have many different present, and they do their job best when they know how to be present with that task. For example, when I am doing presentation, I'm fully myself as the presenter. When I am with my daughter, I will consciously be present as a father. So what you can the picture that you can imagine is that imagine the pressure water, right? When we are focused, we can be very powerful, we can be very strong. And the ability of being present or living in the present, it will elevate our health, it will elevate our understanding of our inner self. Now, on the bottom right, nobility. Nobility will tell us the element we need to have a better relationship with ourselves. And when we have good relationship with ourselves, we will start to have good relationship with others. And in that way, our relationship will grow, and it will give us a better, much better quality of life, because relational well-being is so important. What about capability? Capability tell us the relationship between finance and our relationship with the world, with our family, with our society. So understanding one capability, we understand the relation between the people we know and the work that we do. And there is a very popular saying that it is not about what you know, it is about who you know. So many times when people have opportunity to do well financially, it is often about their relationship. It is about who they know that brought them the opportunity rather than what they are capable of. So in the capability element, we will learn more about the detailed relationship of it. Physics, pretty simple. It is about your physics, about your health, the way that you look, and how strong you are physically. And material is about the material element of life. It could be your something like your house, your car, and all of the element of material you would need to have the best life possible. And last but not least, virtue. Virtue is something very, very beautiful. It is right at the center of the house. Virtue can help you connect the material and the immaterial. So let me go ahead and draw a lot here to make a differentiation between these 7 elements and how they are related to one another. So all 4 elements from the bottom of the house, we can call it the immaterial group, as in they are intangible. And the top part, we could call it the tangible group or the material group. So as in you can see a person's capability, you can see a person's physique, you can see and feel a material of someone. On the other side, wisdom, presence, ability, and virtue, you have to actually get to know a person, let's say through a job interview, in order to have a sense of their immaterial value. So there is this intertwine between, let's say, the physical world and the non-physical world. And I would like to use the material words and the immaterial words, which we need to differentiate. And this is made clear by making an observation of a successful person. Let's say Elon Musk, for example. Even though he has material, he has the way that he looks, and we can somewhat sense his capability. It is what underneath that make Elon Musk Elon Musk. He gained a certain wisdom, he had a certain presence, he had a certain nobility, and the virtue that he had deep inside of him is what makes he who he is. And the impressive thing about Elon is that his presence is just beyond understanding. When he worked with SpaceX, his presence is different. When he worked with Tesla, his presence will be different. And when he worked with, let's say, Boring Company on the tunnel, it is different. And I just love listening to his interview, and I noticed all of these almost like a persona, a character that he just mastered to switch in between in order to perform best at the task at hand. So by understanding these 7 elements, these 7 holistic wealth, imagine back to the principle of life, right? Let's say if we were to make an observation at the sun or at the light, we wouldn't be able to see much. We wouldn't understand the structure of it. But if we can run the light or the sun through a prism and break the light down to 7 colors, to 7 elements, we will be able to make an observation. We will be able to study it, and we will be able to understand and recreate it. Or better yet, we will be able to cultivate it within us and grow it. And eventually, this is a journey of gaining this conscious understanding, and we will have, we will acquire this seven holistic wealth. And just to make it clearer, I would like to bring out the piece of paper and we write the seven holistic wealth in their respective group. We will start with the immaterial group, wisdom. And then we have presence. Mobility. Virtue. This will be the immaterial. And then here we have capability. Seek. And material. This is in the material category. All right, you might ask, what is the difference between the material inside of this group compared to the material out here? The material in the group is a noun, as in your house, your car, the thing that you own physically. And the material out here is representing the material form of something, like the way you look, right? Your physical body. And the expert tell us that in life, it is very important for us to materialize the immaterial. So we want to materialize the immaterial. And we want to materialize the immaterial. So what do the expert mean by that? What they mean is that there is an element of the intangible thing that holds value, and there is value of the material thing. So everything has two parts of it, the material and the immaterial. So when we look at a person like Elon Musk, for example, he looked very much like us, right? He has his physical body, as in like the body, hand, leg, head. But it is the immaterial element. It is his personality. It is his wisdom, his presence, his nobility, his virtue that make him different from everybody else. So it is the immaterial value in us that make us unique, that make us different from others. And understanding this, we can cultivate ourselves so that we can grow, that we can elevate. So what about the material? What do we mean by immaterialize the material? And this remind me of a book that I have read in the past. I forgot the title, but it was a self-help book. And the author is a multi-millionaire. And his book has helped like thousands and thousands of readers become a millionaire. So in the book, he said something very interesting. He said that in order to make $1 million, you have to be a millionaire first. And that's personally when I first read it, because the definition of being a millionaire is that you have to have at least $1 million in your bank account, right? So what does it mean by in order to make $1 million, you have to be a millionaire first? And in the book, he wrote about the ritual that a millionaire would do, of how they wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, even earlier, to do their bed, to make their bed. And that is the first success of the day. And then they would meditate, and then they would exercise, and then they do whatever other activity that they would need to do, and more. So what the book says is that there are immaterial elements that we need to materialize it. There are information that we need to learn. There are information that we need to actually practice it. And by practicing it, we materialize those value in us. And another example is that when you hire someone to work for you, right? You're not offering your physical value, what you do, but they don't just hire you for that. They hire you for your knowledge, your expertise on the job. So understanding this, we understand the relationship between the material world and the immaterial world. So what about immaterialized material? How do we do that? Speaking of this, I love the story, the success of the Rolex watch, or the success of the Beat by Dre. And I think the Rolex watch, they did this first. So the story of them is that they make very expensive watches. And in the beginning, they started a marketing strategy, and they work with success and famous people, and they get them to wear the watch. They get them to put on advertisement, and eventually the watch gets so popular that it sell for like thousands and thousands of dollars. Nowadays, some watch can be sold for a million. All right. So in that way, a Rolex watch is no longer just a watch to uh, to check time. When you see someone wearing a Rolex watch, it is a representation of success. It is a representation of nobility, possibly wisdom, because they have to have wisdom, virtue, in order to do well financially. So one simple object, it can be a representation of many, many immaterial value. What about limited edition? Okay, limited edition car or purse. People willing to pay a lot more for those, just because there are a limited amount of it being made. And there are so many other things. And for example, a penny, the Lincoln penny here in the US, it's only worth 1 cent. But there are certain Lincoln cents that are so rare, it can be sold for, I forgot the exact amount, but I think it's up in the million. There are certain coins are like that. So the point that I am trying to make is that there is value in everything. And it is important for us to recognize it, because when we are aware of it, we can cultivate it. And this is very, very powerful. And this is something that truly opened up my mind. Well, to be honest, when I first learned about this, I was like, what are you talking about? Immaterialized material and materialized immaterial. It made absolutely no sense to me in the beginning because my point of view is that I only believe in what I can see. Okay. I only believe it when I see it. But eventually, when I realized that by having that perspective, I limit myself to only my five senses. And there isn't much that I can see compared to all of the beautiful things we have out there in the world. And when I shift my perspective from just using only my five senses, I opened up myself, I talked to others, I learned about their experience, I compare their experience with mine, I get to learn from them. And by doing that, I expand my worldview. And it is so beautiful. So the application of the seven holistic wealth, there are many, many other applications. But I guess the important um, lesson that I would love to for everyone to learn and discuss is the importance of understanding of value of everything in our life. Because oftentimes we don't appreciate it enough. We don't see the value in it until it is no longer, until we no longer have it. And you can apply this to your business. For example, you can do what the Rolex company did, or Beat by Dre. You can let people know how valuable your product is. You can let people know how valuable your service is. Because if you don't tell them, they wouldn't know. And you will be able to immaterialize the value, or you can add more immaterial value to your product, to your services. There is just so much more on this seven holistic wealth. I think I will stop here and open up for discussion because that is where we learn best. So if you could share some of your thought on this, we can start from there. So feel free to raise your hand. I mean, I would love to hear from Whitney and Giovanni as well. So if you can, please raise your hand. That will help me out. All right, Giovanni. Please.
Hey Ben, hello everyone. Great presentation. I love the fact that you make me write everything down because I get even more images when I'm doing that. I'm not just listening to you do it, I'm actively involved in it. And I love that about this. The second thing is I like how it's called the seven holistic wealths, which I, through the images, associate with our seven chakra systems. So when I look at the material, automatically what comes to mind is things that are in the physical existence, which is associated, if I believe this to be true, with our root chakra, basically. You know, when I look at capability, again, that's like our will, our confidence, our self-discipline, our integrity. You know, these are things that we're capable of, and that to me is the solar plexus chakra. I look at nobility. Nobility automatically aligns with the heart chakra system. And I wrote here is basically because nobility, we're concerned with the greater good. And then with the wisdom, that's the third eye chakra. You know, that's us connecting to a higher self, basically. And that allows us to make better decisions in our lives. The physique is our sacral chakra. That deals with creativity. I also wrote here pleasure, expression of emotions, you know, and just taking care of your physical self, like you said. And then with the presence, I wrote here that presence is to me the throat chakra, in a sense of we're fully engaged in our, how do I say it, our like authentic in our involvement in our experiences, I want to say. And then lastly, the virtue is the crown chakra. So that is just, you know, our connection with like a higher, I wrote here that the throat chakra is basically you're trying to speak truth, you're trying to unite with something greater than yourself. And that to me is 100%, you know, what the crown chakra is for, what this body is meant to do is once we align all of our chakra systems, we're able to communicate with that higher self. So I really appreciate, you know, the visuals because it helped me understand it more in a natural way, you know, so I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Giovanni. I love how you are able to connect everything to the lens of spiritual well-being. And this is exactly the beauty of each of these principle and information, because we can apply it to everything in life. Because there's the interconnectedness of the world. There are law and order, there are principles that we might not aware of, but that is how it's functioned. And one thing I appreciate a lot from the happiness study program is that we get to learn from great minds, great thinkers in the world like Lao Tzu, the Buddha, Socrates, Plato, and many, many others. And by learning from them, I realized that they are all talked about the same thing. They all talk about the same principle and how we are able to see all of this element in nature. And it is just so beautiful. Thanks for sharing, Siobhan. And Whitney.
That was a perfect setup for me, Ben, because I was going to say exactly the same thing that, if you look back to the axial age, it's everybody saying the same thing, especially virtue is central to the ancient Greeks and Confucius and Buddha and, then Ben Franklin much later had a virtue chart that he made for himself, which was so cool. And I feel like that's such a central element, which makes sense that it's central here because every other piece can be woven into our virtues, and it shows up in our virtues and how virtuously we are, with like studying for wisdom or with our grit and perseverance for material or for mindfulness. There's like so many different aspects there. So I also really appreciate your visuals because it helps me concretize things and bring them back. Another thing that I think is really huge, which is less on this one, it was more when you were talking like after this, yeah. And you were talking about how important it is to value everything in life and how that's really the central message. I was thinking about how that energy of gratitude attracts more of whatever we want and how significant that is. And that shows up so much in psychology with, like people talk about the law of attraction and think about like manifestation as being woo woo, but it's really not woo woo. It's very grounded in psychological principles. And I won't go onto my soapbox about it, but I think that you've laid the foundation, and I'm sure we will like tiptoe in it a little bit more. But the key thing is, like you said, when you appreciate the good appreciates what we put our attention on. We're going to be nurturing, and then our brain wants congruence. It wants to see the same thing on the outside and the inside. So if we show up every day and we live according to what we want, then we're investing in that and working towards it on multiple levels. So lots of research about that I could throw out there, like Ellen Langer and Herbert Benson and Nathaniel Brandon, but I will not go too far.
Thanks, Whitney. Yes, I'm glad you brought that point up. This is truly is very, very powerful. We only touch the surface of it. And just a quick story on Elon Musk. So when I first paid attention on Elon Musk back in 2014, and when I first really, really pay attention on his story, I did a research, and of course he's a billionaire even back then, I believe. So I went on the list of the richest people in the world, and Elon's only had like I think 14 or 17 billion at that time. And I was like, this is not right because I was like, this guy has to be the most wealthy, as the most powerful person in the world. And I could just feel it because all of his principle, all of his wisdom and virtue and vision is, I just know that he's already there. And I was very surprised that he wasn't, he ranked at the bottom of the list 100 or something like that. And I was very surprised, but I didn't say anything. Well, fast forward to 2020, 2021, he became the richest, most influential person in the world. And I'm sharing this story so that you can see the power in the immaterial value, right? It is the element that is beyond what the eye can see. You just have to feel it. And once you can master this 7 holistic wealth, where you can interchange the value of the immaterial and immaterial, it will make your life richer. And just like what Whitney said, word create world. Your vision will materialize and it will become your reality. So rather than waiting for life happen to you, you can make life happen for you. And that is what Jeff Bezos did. He had the vision back in 1996, quit his job, quit his probably 6, 7 figure job when he started Amazon. 20 years later, okay, he went through 2 really tough period in 2001 and 2008. Amazon is still here. He spent all of his earnings to build infrastructure, and Amazon became the great company it is today. And everything starts with the thought, everything starts with the connection to the immaterial world, and slowly work its way to materialize it. And that is the power of materialize the immaterial and immaterialize the material. We will discuss that later. But everyone's that is the power. I see Jasmine has been raising her hands for a while. So talk to her real quick.
Yes, I love this 7 holistic wells a lot. Especially the presence, because this was my test back then. Like in order for me to get a certification to become a coach with WIT community, we have to take a test with our group, and like the whole group will coach together, and then we have individual tests for for coaching as well. So that is my test. Um, that's one of the things that I want to question Ben as well, just because the presence the in the house supposed to be on the right side, not the left side. Do you like purposely drawing on the left side, or do I remember it wrong? And talk about the present. This is what I recently realized So we all have our idol or like like movie star that we love. They use this present principle in order to become the star. Why? Because every time they have a new movie, they have to learn to be that character. And when they are done with that movie, they become themselves again. And a good movie star, they can have like 3 or 4 projects that they work at the same time, but every time they are in a project, they become that character, and they out that project, they become another character. And I guess the reason why people receive their nominate for for the big superstar out there, just because they apply the present principle so well that every time they switch character, they become that character. And the more character they can um, they can um, like observe, they can become the variety of the character that they can become, the better they would become, the superstar. And the better finance that they can earn, because they can become so many characters, um like whatever character they want to be, they just be that character. And so that very much the present principle means in this 7 holistic well, that you just be that person when you are in that situation, and you get out, you become you again. So you just wear so many shirts, and you take out a shirt, you wear another shirt, thing like that. And that is like, that is the most powerful um powerful um like that is the most powerful thing that we can do in life, especially for people who for like people who practice to become, the same as sages. People meditate just because they want to get into that state, the nothingness state. And so by switching our character and become that character, we apply that the nothingness state as well. I think Giovanni nodded his. I think he get it. Maybe he can, Giovanni can explain better than I can explain, but that's how I receive this principle. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Janice. Of course, there are many application in each one of the 7 holistic well, but I would love to hear Giovanni on this before I share my thought on the Jasmine question.
All right, so Ben, if you could do me a favor, can you put that pen back in the middle? Okay, so let's build on the foundation, which is the inner self. Okay, so what I wrote here is that our purpose is to ascend, right? To go into higher consciousness. That's our only purpose, is to find ways to ascend. And that's what that pen there represents. So what I wrote is that there's only 3 pathways to truth, because ascension ultimately is knowing truth. Okay, so what I wrote here is that for wisdom, the pathway to truth is philosophy. Okay, and to go with Whitney's point is that she said that there's energy. The energy, she was talking about the energy of gratitude. Okay, so once you have philosophy and the wisdom, you know how to give gratitude. So that was one of the energies that we have in our inner self already. We have to just cultivate that and want to make a choice to do it. Now, I also wrote here that virtue is one other pathway to truth is religion. And, I know some people are kind of jaded by that, but you could only be virtuous through having compassion, which is what religion teaches us. No matter what religion you have, that's one of the main staples of religion is compassion. And that's one energy that we already have in our inner self, that all we have to do is choose to cultivate it. And then I wrote that the last pathway to truth from the material sense is science. Science allows us to use this material world to get truth out of it. And what that gives us is a sense of peace, is what I wrote. So I have here wisdom, virtue, and material. And then the three pathways are philosophy, religion, science. And then our three inner energies are, Whitney started, is gratitude. And then I said compassion and peace is how to get there. And I do also want to make a point here. Something that Jasmine said, she said that we all want to get into the nothingness state. So what does that mean? And I just put that nothingness just means doing and being without having any attachments to anything. So once we stop having attachments to things, we get into this nothingness state. So we're not someone, you know, talking to people, we're just talking to others. You know, we're not identified with our being, we're not identified with anything, we're just being. And you know, I think that this is kind of opening my mind up a little bit more right now. And I like to kind of sit on things a little bit, but I just had to make that point for now that this is kind of what I got out of it. So thank you.
You are like way ahead of the game, Giovanni, and I love it. You dive in deep, and it is amazing that you was able to pick out the energy of wisdom, which are gratitude, compassion, and peace, or some might call it inner peace or tranquility. So that very same energy is the material um, of presence, because when you reach certain level, you can project out the energy of appreciation. You don't even say anything, and people can still sense how appreciative you are, your gratitude to nature, to the world, how loving you are, how much compassion you have for others, and how at peace you are. Just being there. So later on in the journey, of course, we will introduce the definition and the realities of many great people. So thank you for sharing your thought. And this is why I love bringing Giovanni and Whitney in here. Everyone, they catch up fast. And I learned so much from them, to be very honest. And having the this kind of environment help all of us grow. And I want to take a quick moment to respond to Jasmine, and then I will invite Jesse to share. So the present is in the bottom left corner of the house, because it's very much having the element of physical health and the inner health. And presence here can be very powerful, as Jasmine described. We could have different persona for different event, for different situation. What make present even more powerful is that it helps us open up our vision, open up our mind. So there is a story that I heard on Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and it was a short video. One of his guests told the story of his grandma, of how when she was 16 years old, she went on a date with a guy that she just met, because he was so handsome and so kind. So when they went on the date at the restaurant, for some reason she didn't feel right about the guy presence. Something deep inside of her tell her to just get away from him as soon as possible. So she told the guy that she would just go to the bathroom and she would be right back. And when she got out of the table, she called her brother right away and told her brother, you need to go get me right now. And her brother came, she left. Later, they found out that the guy was Ted Bundy. At the few years that he was active, and to everyone who don't know who Ted Bundy is, he's an American serial killer. He killed like so many young innocent girls. So somehow, the grandma of the guest speaker was able to sense the presence of a serial killer at the very early year, and that saved her life, and in turn, that saved the grandchildren's life, and many, many more. And the same thing goes for us, when we can feel presence of others, when we can feel danger, we can get away from it. It can save our life. Or what if we can have the opportunity to meet someone great? If we can feel their presence, if we can learn from them, it will be amazing. So just one element out of present, we can learn and gain so much from it. And this is the beauty of 7 holistic wells, and how when we lit up each of these rooms, once we allow ourselves to immerse in the knowledge, in the application, it helps us stand above problems that arise in life. Instead of trying to get doctored out of the room, we materialize these 4 important elements and more. This is the beauty of it. It is just an introduction to the information, to the idea. We will explore further. And thank you for your question. Thank you for sharing your thought, Giovanni, Jasmine. I'm eager to hear what Jessica said. Go ahead, Jessica, feel free to unmute.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hello Ben, hello Whitney, hello Giovanni, and all of us here. Thank you for actually got that this week we did not have this Zoom meeting, because you know that I'm joined the meeting of Ben for 24 hours of sharing the knowledge, and you know that I think that's what today. So I think that we will not have this meeting, but you know, after joining that meeting with Ben, I did not spend almost 24 hours, but you know that today I see the story that last week I shared with you guys. Did you remember the story of the same languages? Not about the which language, English, Vietnamese, German, or anything. It's just about the inner self language. So that this week I feel the feeling of that. And thank you, Ben, so much. After listening to this sharing for your present today, I see that the knowledge is about the knowledge. And when I listen to Whitney, listen to Giovanni, listen to Jasmine, I feel that we are in the same language. Even though I'm from Vietnam, Ben and Jasmine also Vietnamese, but I feel that we are in the same language and we are human. So that talking about the inner self, talking about the health, the relationship, the finance, talking about the 7 holistic well, I feel that we are the same thing. We are in the same thing. And I think that talking about wisdom, talking about virtue, talking about material, I think that seems like it inside us. And the big lesson that I learned from Ben today, that when he put the pen on this slide, and I see that, wow, wisdom, virtue, material, yeah, like that, yeah, seem like that. And I see that there is a connection between them, even though you know that I understand and I learned this knowledge before, but and I learned from Ben before when he sharing this knowledge by English. But you know that I just see that immaterial and material. But today I learned that present and physics, they have connection. Nobility and capability, they have connection. And wisdom, virtual and material. We have the connection. So that when we have, for example, when we are a wise person, we have a virtual person, and then we can easily more simple to earn money, to own the car, something belong to material. And today, this is still a big lesson for me, that I can again have a time to listen to Ben again and listen to all of you guys here, and I can understand more about this 7 holistic wills. Thank you, Ben, and everyone here for letting me have a chance to study it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks, Jesse. Great point there. And yeah, I was aware of this, but I didn't think much of it until Giovanni and Jesse brought it up. But if you could just look at the image, and you know how, like I mentioned, if you were to build a skyscraper, let's say 100-story high building, the foundation need to be strong. That is the first element. It might take them 7 years to build the foundation, but it's only take them a year or 2 to build the rest of the building. So foundation is super important. And as you can see, the connection between wisdom, virtue, and material. Wisdom is in material form, and material is obviously in its material form. Virtue is a very, very interesting element, because when you let's say you make a judgment at a person based on their virtue, you can sense it physical element, and at the same time you can also sense it immaterial element. So in life, to live a holistic life, to live life holistically, we get to experience the material lifestyle. We get to drive nice car. We have permission to be human, to live in a nice house, experience the world. But we also have the permission to enjoy wisdom. And the combination of those two, you could say that is connect through virtue. A virtuous person will be the person who will acquire material wealth, like Elon Musk, for example. At the same time, the person with virtue, they can connect with wisdom, which is in the immaterial wealth. And all 7 elements here, they are all interconnected. You cannot build a skyscraper without the left side of it. You cannot do it without the right side. All of this are intertwined. All of this are in its own entanglement. And it is so beautiful. Similarly, I mean, whatever connection you make are right, there's no wrong here, because they are interconnected. What if I turn the pen this way and see the connection between physique, virtue, and nobility? Okay, look at a CEO of a company, a president of a company, for example. They have their physique, they have their virtue, they have their nobility, and you can see it, you can sense it. What about present virtue and capability? Similarly, you can feel their presence. You can somewhat measure their virtue, and they can show their capability. So all of these are interconnected, and each and one of these are so important to live a holistic life. And Giovanni raised his hand again. So please, Giovanni, and I would love to hear from Whitney as well if you have some thought you want to share. Thank you.
I'm very excited about this. Jesse said that, you know, she feels like we're all speaking the same language, right? So to me, the only language that there really is truth. And that's what you're giving us here. That truth is what we know home is. That's what home feels like, is true. So that's what this house symbolizes for me. Which kind of, if you turn that upside down, like turn it around, right? So that the house is upside down. So that now it looks like an arrow, right? So you ask yourself, well, what can I do, you know, to go back home? And the arrow is pointing right at you, right? So Ram Dass, in his book, Be Here Now, he said that the only thing you can do for me is to work on yourself. And the only thing that I can do for you is work on myself. So when you put the pen there in the middle, these are things that we have the capability right now at every present moment to make a choice to work on. Those are the only things that we can really, truly cultivate in our lives. So I really appreciate that. And then the next thing is if you go back to the immaterial material page that you had made. Now, what I want you to do is if you could just draw a little brain right there in the middle of the arrows, okay? As best you could. Because what you said is, if you want to build a skyscraper, you have the left side and right side. And automatically I said, well, this body is I built this body, right? This is my skyscraper. So if I look at the roof of my head is going to be my brain. So the brain has two hemispheres. You have a left and the right. And the left is everything that is in the green. That's all the logical things. That's all the rational things. It's all the material things, right? And then the right side of the brain are all the creative things, our intuition, our emotional expressions, our artistic ability, our ability to think holistically. And what you have is the material are things that we see, which are things that we call reality, which are things that are kind of known to us, right? And then on the top, the immaterial, I would say that the material is more like, I wrote here that it's more like the spiritual world, which is the unknown portion. This is kind of what we fear, is we fear the unknown. And it's when we step into this fear and we become friends with it that we really can start to build, our perfect house with the best foundation possible. So I really appreciate, everyone's insight, because I feel like everyone's given, a key to open up the door to home. And that's what we're doing now. It's, I'm just like you, I'm just putting all the puzzle pieces together so that it can make sense to me. And I hope it makes sense to you guys. Because I don't try to think, too far outside the box. I just try to use, what I have in front of me in nature to kind of make sense of everything. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep writing. So thank you.
Yep. Everything is interconnected, and you are great as connecting dots. So thank you for sharing. And I think Jesse wanted to respond to you, Giovanni. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Giovanni. Actually, I have this feeling for the last day. I had a review with how can I say about that? Should I say about that now? Okay. I had an appointment with the to have an appointment to have a visa to US next on May 2024. Yeah. At that time when I have a time to talk just about 5 minutes, not nearly 5 minutes to talk to that man, I think there is a connection between the language, because at that time he asked, even though he's an American, but he asked me a question by Vietnamese, and he's so frequently in Vietnam, so that I think that at that time I just respond by Vietnamese, but after that he asked me a question by English, and I respond by English. And after that, the conversation between me and that man, that American man, we use both languages. We use both Vietnamese and English, and we understand each other. And after that appointment, I think that there is a connection between the languages. And I'm totally agree with you, Giovanni, that the language, it seems like the thing that belongs to us, and we just talk the way we understand. Even though I did not understand what you are saying, I just see what you are drawing. I understand what you want to talk to me. So that I think the language is not the thing that needs to be a barrier to us. And now you know that I'm recording 10,000 lesson from the day I start the course until after about 8 months, I will complete that number. And you know that in that recording, I record it on Google Docs, and you know that I write a lot of languages in there, maybe Vietnamese, English, German, Chinese, anything that I can. I try it, and I think that's not the connection. There is a connection between the languages, and even though when I learn it at the first time, I also give me a chance to record it by myself. And actually today I have the more lesson that is the connection between everything. And I love to talk to you, Giovanni, because you usually use another perception to think about a thing, and that helped me to learn more thing about that. So thank you so much for being here for me to understand more about this lesson. Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you, Ben.
All right, thanks, Jesse. It's beautiful. I can talk about this for 24 hours as I did, but you know what? I like to limit this to 90 minutes. So because we're gonna have like next week and many other week to come. We reached the end, everyone. But if you have something to share, feel free to raise your hand. We can do one more take, and then I can play a song and we'll say bye to each other. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. So, well, thank you for. I see Whitney moving. I don't know if she has something to say.
No, I was just going in the chat to say goodbye. I'm
Oh.
trying to not be too chatty because I'm aware of the time. And last time I felt like we ran out of time and then people wanted to talk. So I've been purposely not saying all of the things that are in my brain because I too could go on for 24 hours. Not that I've actually tried like you have, but yeah. So no, I'm good. I'm content. We will pick up next week.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. And I will see you next week. All right. Goodbye then.
Okay, bye-bye.
She's got cherry lips, angel eyes. She knows exactly how to tantalize. She's out to get you, danger by design. Cold-blooded vixen, she don't compromise. Before you play with fire, do think twice. If you get burned, well baby, don't you be surprised. Got me lifted, drifted higher than the ceiling. And oh baby, it's the ultimate feeling. You got me lifted, feeling so gifted. Sugar, how you get so fly. Sugar, how you get so fly. Baby, sugar, how you get so fly. Sugar, sugar, how you get so fly. Baby, sugar, how you get so fly. Sweet talking lady, love how you entice. Sugar with just the right amount of spice. Charming, alluring, everyone's desire. She's out to get you, you can't run, you can't hide. She's something mystical in colored lights. So far from typical, but take my advice. Before you play with fire, do think twice. And if you get burned, well baby, don't you be surprised. You got me lifted, drifted higher than the ceiling. Oh baby, it's the ultimate feeling. Got me lifted, feeling so gifted. Sugar, how you get so fly. Sugar, how you get so fly. Baby sugar, how you get so fly. Sugar, sugar, how you get so fly. Baby sugar, how you get so fly. Sugar, how you get so fly. Baby sugar, how you get so fly. Sugar, sugar, how you get so fly. Baby sugar, how you get so fly. Sugar, how you get so fly. Sugar, how you get so fly. Never know how much I love you. I never know how much I care.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey.
The
I
after the
Yeah.
party, it's the after party.
how you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
doing
so
great.
good.
Oh man, I got so much out of this one.
Yeah, I
This
know.
one was good. This
I
was
did
good.
too.
Um,
Jasmine's
how you
in the
doing,
waiting
Beth?
room. Do we let her in?
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I had so much to say. Oh, you know what I keep meaning to ask you guys? So I was thinking of the triangle of reality and like exactly what Giovanni said about the like compassion and gratitude and inner peace. But I never want to say anything that I know from the book that's like ahead because I feel like maybe I'll muddy the lessons. So am I right to like not go there?
I think it is fine in this setting because a lot of the participant here know about the information, and I think it will be very impressive for them to hear it from you, because it will give them hope. It will give them you know, the strength to just share this with others without any barrier. And I'm learning too. I my English is okay. It's good, but it's nice to hear the description from you within from Giovanni. And it's really beautiful.
Your English is great.
Oh yeah.
You need to hear that so many times. This is actually exactly what we are talking about. This is like case in point. You have to be the millionaire to get the millions. So, like, stop denying yourself and show up where
It's a
you
mindset
are.
change.
Yeah,
It's a mindset change.
it's such a mindset shift. You have to like lean into that energy of having it in order to get more of it, you know? So acknowledge where you're at, which is already really great, and be grateful for it. And
Hmm.
you're going to just attract more. That's exactly what you saw in Elon, which that was a really fascinating story to think about. Like you saw it because he was already acting as if he was at that point, which in a way he was, you know, like I mean, and this is where I get like really like quantum jumping, like multiple dimensions, realities, timelines kind of stuff that I will not say in a group
Hmm.
call. But it was like Schrodinger's cat. This is also like there is like actual science here. He was both the before and the after at the same time. So he showed up and he like had the wealth that he had, but he also already had the wealth that he acquired later. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. And I
Yeah.
believe that too.
Yeah.
Wow. Ben, I think you're taking, how do I say it? I know you always bring up Elon Musk, right? But you also study like Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great and all these people. It's because it's a mirror, it's a reflection of who you're supposed to be and what you want to do. And I'm talking to you because I know this is going on in your head. You won't say it out loud, but you want to build empires. And,
Totally.
and you're gonna do that because what you're doing, the way you're doing it, works. It really, really works. Like I can understand things, but like when you're explaining and you take your time to choose your words, I mean, I can't even explain like the mental images that I get. I can't even keep up with my own writing. You know, because I get so much information when you talk. It's like all this information is just downloaded. When you talk, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. That's a gift, my friend.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
that
really
that
good.
truly is. And your penmanship is like off the hook too.
I kept thinking
So,
about that too. You're like a teacher, like a
oh
elementary teacher. It's very impressive and very straight lines.
yeah, I mean it
Very
is
impressive.
top notch, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what Jasmine saying, I'm also impressed with Giovanni on the nothingness part. Yeah, it's just nothingness doesn't mean that we don't have to do anything. It means that we just can't attach ourselves to whatever it is that we're doing.
Exactly.
And that's all it is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the confusion. So then when you said left side, right side, I automatically went to the brain. I'm like, this is a mindset change. Like, and then you said you have to light up the room. And I thought of like the pineal gland lighting up and people becoming enlightened and stuff like that, because that's just how I think. But I think all of it leads to that. I think realistically, everything that you're explaining here, these are all breadcrumbs for, you know, how we can attain enlightenment without really saying obtaining enlightenment, you know?
Totally.
So yeah, I man, this is great. So
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
So on the brain thing though, one point of order, the whole right brain, left brain thing is not clear anymore. Like scientists argue about that all the time. So I don't know exactly what the answer is, but the whole like, oh, that's our creative side. Everybody's arguing all the time. Maybe not.
yeah,
Well, I just want to
Just
say thank you
something to look into.
for all of your kind word. And the truth is, you have it within you, and that's how you are able to see the quality in me. Because I'm sure
Mm.
other people might not see the same way. So I wanted to give yourself credit as well. And one
That is
thing
so
that,
true.
yep, and there's one thing that I can share with you is that the way that I speak now is very different compared to the way that I speak before, like 8 years ago. Because I am speaking from the heart, from the energy that I feel from the image that I have in my head, and I just project it out. I don't think about it. And I
Mm.
think that is
Mm.
how you speak with truth. And I see that in both of you, Giovanni, and Whitney, because there are times that you speak, it's just like, how did you come up with that? It was so beautifully, it was so flawless. And I think in this journey, we practice it, we exercise it, and the more we do it, the better we get, and the more connect we are with others. I think this is so meaningful. It is so beautiful.
And with ourselves, because it's like listening to yourself and what you have to say.
Yep.
Hi, Jasmine. Thanks for showing us baby Bella Luna. That was
Yeah.
fun.
She's sleeping right now.
Good.
She was like she start develop her vocal cord.
Oh,
She start like now. She wake up again.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Jojo's doing the same thing. He doesn't sleep long. He wakes up like every 2 to 3 hours in the middle of the night still.
Mm,
And right now he's getting like his canine teeth in, so like he's hurting and yeah,
that's
it's a
hard.
process, but I meditate all day long, so I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with this stuff. Really
I love
am.
it.
Now, when I first learned about this, I'm like, this is so amazing. And then the more I learn about this one, like this is only less than 1%.
Yeah.
It's
You know, I
ridiculous.
just, like you said, like none of this stuff is new. Like when you read, you know, other people, there's nothing new. It's just contemporary language. That's all it is. Um, you know, and I think it's like it's our time now to distribute this material to people in a way that they can really understand it. And that begins with, you know, going from the mind into the heart and creating that coherence, you know, which again, that's that centeredness thing that we're talking about here. It's all leading to the same exact thing. And I know I'm being changed by just trying to understand this material in a more natural way. Because the first thing out of Spire is I'm automatically spiritual, because that's like the first one. So I feel like, you know, we lose ourselves as a whole being if we don't include that spiritual side of everything, you know. So that's why, like, every time I talk, it's more geared towards spiritual, because I feel like that's what's lacking right now. It's not like really we have to remove negativity or anything like that from the world. We just got to, you know, highlight the positivity in things and the positivity in spirituality, so that people are not really scared to talk about it, you know, because we all know it's there. It's just we're afraid of the unknown. That's all it is. So
It's pretty
um,
scary. It is very, very scary.
no, it's yeah, no, it is scary, because I think that when you step into the unknown, you think that you're going to lose who you have created up to that point, right? In a sense, you do lose you, but like you said, like what you're speaking, all you do with your personality and all that is you become enhanced, you know, from it. I always tell people like, oh, I ask them, do you meditate? And they're like, no, I can't, because my brain, I'm like, that's the whole purpose. It's a practice.
Right.
It's not supposed to be perfect, but I said, I guarantee you that the more meditations you do, you can become perfected in it, you know. So it's just, yeah, it's such a beautiful thing just to be witness to this, and also to, you know, contribute to it. Because before I became, you know, who I am now through my past experiences, I would have never have liked to even talk about this stuff, because it wasn't in my life. So now that it is, it's like I want to give that gift to other people. So like you said, like with the downloads, I just remove myself out of it so that the truth can come out. Because like what Jesse was saying is, you know, we're all speaking the same language, and it is truth. And when people
You know
hear
that,
truth,
sorry.
they know it's truth, you know, and there's nothing that can convince them otherwise. So it's very powerful.
So powerful. Do you guys know the Tower of Babel? Know
Yep.
that story? Yeah, so I think about that whenever Jesse talks, and it's just, I feel like there is truth in that, even though it's a story. I bet it's not exactly a story. Giovanni, I just watched Avatar with my family, and I'm hearing and I know you're teaching on it, and I wish I could be in your lesson. So maybe you'll give your presentation for us as well.
Oh yeah. So much in Avatar, because I see myself in Avatar. I mean, he
I
was a
know, that's
Marine,
what I'm
he was
hearing. Yeah.
injured, and like,
And then suddenly he's this like completely spiritual being. He's
yeah.
interconnected with everything.
And
Yeah,
what got
like
me was that who is Jake Sully when he's inside of Jake Sully, and who is in, you know, him when he's sleeping? Like, you know, when he's
yeah,
his avatar, who is he? And that's just our spirit. That's all it is. And that's
yeah.
how they're able to connect with the tree and all that stuff. It's a very
Mhm.
spiritual movie. So yeah,
Completely.
it's beautiful.
Completely. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So yeah, thank you
Beautiful.
guys for today. Now I'm
I,
gonna go meditate
you.
again before I go to sleep.
I want to
I-
I want to comment on Giovanni's spiritual journey very quickly, because it is okay to feel a little bit scary
Yeah.
when we think about it, because the physical world, like our Earth, it is vast, right? So when you're speaking of spiritual, when you're speaking of the universe, is immeasurable. We can't even talk about like 100 times more, a million, even a billion. And all of that vast information you can experience it with your spiritual eye. And that is pretty scary when you think of it that way. And it's even scarier when you know that you can actually experience it. And it is okay. And this is the importance of this very journey, because you need foundation, you need understanding of the light, because only the light can guide you through this journey. Figuratively.
Mm.
I think of it as more exciting than scary, but I think it's important to recognize that it's scary for a lot of people. So
That's what I
that
meant.
when we are talking, then we're coming from that perspective and just having like sensitivity and everything. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's scary because we're all just here to learn who we are. That's all really what we're meant to do, right? So for me, the only thing I really want to communicate is that, like, we have to know that we're not familiar with our own ideas, realistically, right? Like, the idea of darkness, you know, which really is kind of like our own construct. Like, because if we weren't in this darkness, we'd be fully in the light, right? So the fact that we see things here that we don't like and we put labels on it shows that we are here in this darkness. And which is why we perceive the fear as well, you know, because we're scared of things that we do create. And one of the reasons why is because whatever we create can be taken from us at any moment. And that's what's so scary about spirituality, you know. But what I do know is that, you know, when we do become familiar with, you know, what darkness really is and what our idea of fear really is, which is based off of like time, then we know that everything is opposite to God, source, and eternity. So time is opposite to eternity. Darkness is opposite to light. And all of that is just symbolism, you know, that the darkness just symbolizes basically the things that we're unfamiliar with, things that we don't know, which is always in time, because in eternity, you know everything. And that's what's so beautiful about trying to, you know, be mindful all the time about being in the present moment, to have these reminders and rituals that bring you in the present moment, you know. And all we have to really do is find a place in the flow or whatever, you know, through meditation, through journaling, through activities, to know that eternity is always here and now. It's never anywhere else. And that's the whole confusion, because everything else leads to lack, and in eternity there's absolutely no lack. You're limitless, you know, right now. And it all begins with your
Exactly.
thoughts, because I think spiritually, my thoughts are like prayers to God. If God is the all-knowing mind or source or whatever you want to call it, cosmic consciousness, then the only thing that separates us is our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So once we let go of our thoughts and we become one with our thoughts, then we're able to download things a lot more quicker and more authentically, where we can still be ourselves, our personality, but just more enhanced, better, you know, with the nobility, like, you know, for the greater good, not just for ourselves, but to share and extend, you know, the light that we do have inside of us. So
Evolving.
yeah.
Yeah. That was the track I stopped myself from going down earlier. I was like, we
I try
could
not
go
to stop
deep.
myself. I want to go deep. I want to scare the shit out of people, because people need to know, like, you know, that this is real business. Like, this is not juju stuff. Like,
Yeah, no.
we have the capability and the ability right now to really change our own lives and help other people change their lives as well. And that's how we all get home together, because we're not whole until we all come home together. You know, that's the whole purpose of us being here. It's not just me coming home, it's me bringing everyone else home along with me, and you guys doing the same exact thing, you know. And I think by me, you know, having my experience growing up, moving house to house and not really having a home, I got to really understand what home really meant, which is home is always where I am now. And it's a choice to be home and to knock on that door, you know. So yeah, I really appreciate what we're doing here, and I appreciate the platform that you're giving here, Ben, because I think a lot of people are starting to really understand the importance of all this material, but with the spirituality aspect, and then going into the Spire after that, you know, because the only thing that's meaningful is that to know that we do exist and we exist forever, and then everything else, all the material stuff, is all meaningless, because in 200 years, everything that we're looking at is not going to look the same. So what are we really worried about? You know, the only thing that's going to be the same is people are still going to think. So we have to put out our thoughts, and whenever I can already see us writing books and stuff like collectively between us.
We have the expert here, you think?
No, yeah.
We would
And
do that for
sometimes-
sure.
But sometimes I feel like when I'm reading philosophy and things like that, I feel like it was me at a past time writing it, leaving myself breadcrumbs, because I always get things that I need to hear in that moment. So I don't just see pages in a book, I see it conversations with myself. So, you know, and this is what I'm having here. You know, it's just, I see everyone as myself, and I see people as confused, and I try to just unconfuse them a little bit, you know, just dropping good seeds that hopefully, you know, they can cultivate and plant later on, be like, oh, that's what he meant.
Jasmine said the same thing. What you said just now, Giovanni. Jasmine said that not too long ago too. It's
Mm.
pretty
That's
crazy.
magical.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the journey has already started, and my hope is that you guys will take care of the whole journey, whole being journey. You know, we will expand this, sharing this to the English speaking, the US, and I believe that we will build an army of Elon Musk, and it will be really cool.
We're talking on Friday, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still keeping the
I like what
Thursday and
Jasmine
Friday
wrote there.
schedule.
Well, I
Yeah.
haven't had dinner yet, so
Yeah, me neither.
my family's waiting on me.
All
Yeah,
right.
when we
Oh,
have
you
this
need to go.
meeting, because we're an hour earlier. So
Yeah.
I want to like keep going, but I feel like if I respond to that, then there's like another hour-long conversation. That's always the problem with these with the Wednesday night thing, like an hour to max an hour and a half. That's not a lot of time. So I feel like it's just trying to be really mindful of the time that we have and allowing space for
Yeah.
people to talk and everything. I'm not great at time management. You guys know, like any conversation with me, there is no time.
It's so
I
easy to
just
get lost in
block
flow
it off.
because
I
there is
know,
no time.
which I
There is no
love.
time. So that's where I feel like you guys give me flow. So I really appreciate that.
I know. I
Yeah.
love it so much.
So, well,
I'm so
let's
grateful.
I love you guys.
let's send Whitney back to her family. I'll
Yeah.
talk to you guys tomorrow on Friday. Thank you.
Love
I
you guys.
appreciate
Okay.
you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Good night.
Bye now.
Kiss Ella.
Appreciate you
Good
guys.
night.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye.
Mwah, 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 mwah.